We're here to celebrate the anniversary of Bay Harbor.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out. It's now.
Of baby powder and that baby powder.
Is that the cow you want?
And that one she uses.
Grab it, grab it, grab it.
Sugar. And you can hear me when you're still the one. You make me strong. Everyone over here, you know, let's sing along. They're all sing alongs. Right now, a little mixed up, but I'm feeling fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now my tongue gets tired.
I like your whiskers.
I just wanted to go. On my motorcycle. Sure, that's the first request that we've had.
What is that?
Okay, back to the clapping.
Hello? Hello, hello? I wasn't that one. I wasn't sure, so I didn't do that one.
We have to ask because
Yeah, walk in there.
Yeah, we might as well.
These are the restaurants here.
Once, twice.
I have done this once or twice.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here you are.
There you are. Enjoy it. Thank you.
One of those?
welcome to the 20th anniversary of one of the greatest places in the world, Bay Harbor. It is my pleasure to introduce the vision of Bay Harbor, the chairman of Victor International and Bay Harbor, the man with all the vision to do this great place. Here he is, Dave Johnson.
Well, it's an amazing 20 years. And it started with the dream in a briefcase is what we called it. Where I had all these drawings and numbers figured out and carried it around in a briefcase and went around and said, if we could do this and if we could do that. And the first time I came up here and walked into the cement plant, I watched these guys in hazardous moon suits, and I thought I should be locked up in a padded cell someplace. So it's hard to believe for me that it's 20 years. And as I've said a few times in the last few months, Bay Harbor got 20 years older and I didn't. So it's an amazing journey. It's a life legacy journey for me and for our family. And it is combined with success is not a line that goes like this, right? We all know that. Success is a line that goes like this. And you never stay in the status quo. It moves, and to get up here, you're going to go through ups and downs. The first major up and down we had was 9/11. And we had sold $100 million in real estate, and the next month we sold 0. And that was a little bit of a jolt. But what we used in that time is we went, even though everything was perfect and going right, we went and got the world's best experts and said, what just happened? And through that and the research of those people, we learned that there was a shift in the United States, that instead of waiting till people were 55 or 60 and their kids were growing up and they were then going to go find a place to retire, that instead they were going to do things 10 or 20 years sooner and do them with their children, and that they would live the experience as a family from the beginning all the way through. We didn't envision that people 30 years old would move here from New York or other cities and live here full time. But we were wise enough to put in fiber optic and interesting infrastructure from the beginning that supported the wave of technology that empowered and enabled people to come and live here full time. So as we went through the different experiences, I'm a relentless and persistent guy and always determined to continue to make it better. We went through with Resort Township in Emmett County probably 80 different revisions to the master plan, area by area with the 30 neighborhoods, but always never changing the 800 overall units where it had previously been proposed for 5,500. And the highest price lot ever sold within 50 miles of here was $150,000. And so we were pioneering a new price point, a new paradigm, and the first mixed-use community that combined boating, golf, equestrian. We did a survey. One person owned a racehorse in California, and I was the only other person that owned horses. So tennis and then above all, the general public elements, the 5 miles of non-motorized nature trails, which ultimately connected rails for trails, and what became about a mile of public, general public park on both ends of Bay Harbor, giving access to not only Resort Township, but all of the public to Lake Michigan and the communities around. We've gone through economic challenges, environmental challenges, and all different kinds of situations in the last 20 years. But what's prevailed is the amazing friendships, the families, and the fact that people have come from 5 different countries and 24 states. Over 32 builders, over 30 architects, have gone into the concept of what is Northern Michigan historic architecture. So our role was to have a vision, implement the vision, and then police the vision, meaning make sure that as it evolves, what gets delivered, what was originally dreamed, and it doesn't get compromised along the way. And that's the tough part. And it takes a relentless team of dedicated people. And the Bay Harbor Company team, which I praise, and they're here, you know, Denny Bry, Jill O'Neill, have been here for 20 years from the beginning, dedicated to exceeding all your expectations. And Dave House and Tracy Lupi and the Village and Linda Parker, 19 years. All these people have been here from the beginning and evolved as the community evolved to exceed everybody's expectations. But the most important strategic alliance became with the owners of Bay Harbor. And I really viewed from the beginning that I had a partnership with each and every person that invested and took a stake in this community. And I had the courage to come in here and build and move their families and become part of the way of life. So the first round of applause I'd like to give is to each of you for your vision to become part of this. So there's a saying in Urban Lands Institute that all master plan communities are finished by the third developer. The first guy has the vision and goes broke and never sticks with it. The second guy comes along and picks off some of the cream, and the third guy comes along and makes a lot of money. So we're here, we stayed here, and we're going to continue to be here because when I got called about 10 months ago and they said, we want to interview you for the 20th anniversary, and I went, it can't be 20 years. That right then the focus became, okay, this is what we've accomplished. And there's a chunk of about 8 years that were, you know, kind of standstill years in there. So it's really 12. So what can we do in the next 20? And we'll talk more about that as the evening goes. But we're really an infant, just becoming a part of greater Northern Michigan tradition and the great rich resort tradition of Charlevoix, Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and tourism in the great state of Michigan, which our wonderful governor will tell us about a little more in a minute. So the final ingredient was to create leadership groups of the owners. And the Yacht Club was the first one to do that and has an unbelievable governing process, board of directors, and ongoing commitment to a standard of excellence that's taken it far beyond when it was the developers club to the owners of Bay Harbor Yacht Club, and then to add the village element so that it was a general public element along with the parks, the public marina, the launch ramps, and all the other parts. And then to take the final ingredient was the presidents, which are elected by each of you in Bay Harbor, to be a representative organized group to give input, advice, and guidance and direction into the greater community and to what Bay Harbor becomes into the future. When we first dreamed that up, I went to Urban Land Institute that I'm a trustee in, and they said, if you do that, they're going to throw you out. And I said, well, if we get thrown out, we deserve to be thrown out. So we need to do that so that we do it together to make it as good and as great as it possibly can be. And it is and will continue to be not only the best of its kind, but I believe the best in the world of its type, and then in harmony with the rest of what we're doing. So I have the privilege tonight to also, an honor, to introduce our great governor. It takes three things to get him reelected. Same three things of philanthropy, 3 W's, which Donna Roberts taught me: workers, wealth, money, and wisdom. So everybody needs to work to get him reelected. It needs money. He needs to run in campaigns. The unions are would like to not have a right to work state. And it takes wisdom, which is leadership. And it takes the leadership of all of us to continue, and I urge you all to continue to get involved in the leadership of Bay Harbor. But it takes great leadership of our state to bring Michigan back to the great state that it was at the turn of the century and in the 1930s when Detroit was the high-rise capital of the world. So I'm very excited and honored to introduce our great governor, Rick Snyder.
Well, thank you very much, David. It's great to be here, and it is an exciting night. I have an opportunity to give lots of talks, but this is a special event, 20 years here, and to see what this place was 20 years ago, and then to see the fabulous place today. When I talk about Michigan quite often, there's a term I'll use to describe our past, our present, and our future. It's a simple phrase, 3 words, made in Michigan. Because in many respects, that sums up who we are. It sums up our past in many respects because Michigan is something we should be truly proud of our history. Many people know us as the automotive capital, but we are much more than that. We're the manufacturing capital of the world. We're the entrepreneurship capital of the world. We're the innovation capital of the world. We did it in autos, but we did it in so many industries. Cereal, furniture, chemicals, the list goes on, pharmaceuticals. To say made in Michigan meant something special across the entire world. Now, the issue was we were too successful. We built companies that were the world's biggest and the world's best. And then we sort of took it for granted. And we paid a price for that. We went downhill. But made in Michigan today still means something special because we're the comeback state in the United States. We're getting that fire, that passion back to understand that we can do great things. And when I say great things, our work is not done by any means. For the extent we're feeling better, we can see progress going on. Now is not the time to be complacent nor content. So Made in Michigan also represents our future. But let me talk just really briefly about what Made in Michigan is. Made in Michigan is more than what you might think on the first blush. Made in Michigan clearly means the products we manufacture, that we make. But it's more than that. It's the products we grow. It's our agricultural legacy. Made in Michigan is not just a tangible good either. It's about having ideas. It's about creating things. It's about being innovative. And that's what this place represents. Bay Harbor is an awesome illustration of Made in Michigan. It's about having a vision, about David and Bill McCormick having a vision of what something special could be. It's one thing to have a vision, it's another to make it a reality. And these wise people, through hard work, through dedication, through working out of a briefcase, I like that word relentless that you are using, and persistent. I like relentless positive action as a phrase I kind of like. It's about staying focused on getting things done and going and understanding it's not a straight line, that you're going to have to overcome obstacles and problems. And that was done here. And what has been created? I don't describe this as a real estate community, although it's a fabulous one. I describe it as a community of people. This is about creating an environment where people come together and have a special place. That's Made in Michigan. That's pure Michigan. Because one of the great things we have in every corner of Michigan, but this time of year it shows up in northern Michigan. It's about Michiganders, that many of us grew up in other parts of the state. We've lived here most of our lives, but we have a special place now that we look forward to going to. It's also for all those great out-of-state people that are joining us and people from other countries that join us. One of the wonderful things I notice when I come up here, I'll run across people from Chicago, from Cincinnati, from other parts of the country. They have been coming here for generations. This is not just a piece of real estate. It's a community that they belong to, a community they love. That's Made in Michigan. And so that's why it's exciting to celebrate tonight, to understand that this was about a vision to create a community of people that embrace something special, that now have a special place in their lives. So congratulations on 20 years. But just as I said, Michigan's coming back and this is the present. it's not something that's over. It's something that's still growing, something that still we should keep accelerating, working hard to make better and better. And that's the best point I would leave you with. Whether we're talking about the state of Michigan or we're talking about Bay Point, we're talking about our best days being ahead of us. For all the excitement and great things you're seeing today, there's even greater things ahead, not just for us, but for our kids and our kids' kids and those generations that can enjoy this for the foreseeable and the unforeseeable future, to have a great life. So David, to all you and to all the community members and all the wonderful things, I want to congratulate you, and in fact, come up here. I have a tribute, a proclamation to give you. So as governor, I get to give big birthday cards. So I want to present to you this, David, this proclamation celebrating the 20 years of Bay Harbor. Congratulations.
Three things for the next person. First, I'd like to thank God for giving me the courage, vision, and strength to make it through the last 20 years. Secondly, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Pam. For every day putting up with me and going through the journey of 24/7 and moving around a few times. And her brilliant talent. She's an amazing woman, and I'm very lucky to have her in my life. And third, it's all about friendships. So when Bay Harbor started, this next person I didn't know, but I met, I think, the first year of Bay Harbor. And now it's my best friend, Bill Parfit, would come up here and join me. And before he talks, I've roped him into a lot of different tasks, but he was on what we called the transition committee, which was taking the yacht club early into into an equity club owned by the members, and served as the first Commodore, 2 terms, and really through some adversarial where 6 owners thought, well, we don't really want to do this, and we went and met with them, and they said, okay, do you want to undo it? No. Do you want to do it? No. We just don't want to agree to anything. So we figured out how to get it done. In his great vision as a level 5 leader, he united the community, brought everybody together, and really has been a visionary focus. Served as chairman of the foundation, and we're not done roping his talents into the future of what we have to do. So, Bill Parfit.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Governor. I'll be short, but my focus tonight is to really talk about my best friend, David Johnson. Now, when Barbara and I sat down to write the notes for tonight, she asked me, should we roast him or toast him? Either one is easy. We're going to toast him tonight. Here's a man that has been through 43 developments, all of which have been extremely successful. And you ask, what's behind it? Well, number one, when he was younger and in college, and even before, he was a wild man. No one knew what his future would be. So those of you with parents out, with kids out there wondering what your wild children are, there's still hope for him. He drives into the shallow end of a swimming pool, for one, and he has to live the rest of his life with this impediment. But he overcame that like nobody ever has. And you've heard the stories of people that have a setback in life, and that just gives them all the more fortitude and vision. And that's exactly what David has done. He takes pieces of land that people can't even see what they look like and creates something that never existed before. He took me with him down to the Caribbean when he was looking to do his Caribbean project, which is now turned out to be Oil Nut Bay. In 11 days, we went to 9 different islands. We had this little routine. We'd go by one island after another. I'd see sugar cane or rundown buildings. He'd see golf courses and waterfalls, palm trees. It was amazing what he can do. And 43 times he's hit the ball out of the park. But every time he puts a development together, the first thing he thinks about are the people. How can I impact people the most? And when he talks about people, it's not just the top people, it's everybody. When we went to the Virgin Islands, his first care and concern was for the citizens of the Virgin Islands, to make sure that anything he did in their country and their island was acceptable to them. Before long, the Prime Minister, the President, everybody loved David Johnson, because you know something? He cares. But this vision that he has is kind of interesting, because he can see so far ahead that when he shares it, you think the guy's crazy. But he gets it. And he's made an impact in northern Michigan like very few others have. I lived across the bay all my life and saw this cement plant with the smoke bellowing out of these chimneys, and then of course it went bankrupt and sat as an eyesore, an environmental challenge for everybody. But with Bill McCormick's original vision and his and David's continuing success and knowledge and his fortitude and drive, look what we have today. We have a place that's impacted the lives of thousands of people. Not only those who come and live here, not only those who visit here and enjoy it with their families, but also with the access that many of the people have here, the foundation that we've started that's touched literally millions of lives that have a difficult time in the harsh northern Michigan winters. We've reached out to all strata to make sure they're happy and can live a peaceful and rewarding life themselves. So it's an all-encompassing community that this man, once again, has given us and given us in northern Michigan. It's incredible. So people are his number one criteria, and also he's concerned about making the environment. So he always leaves it a better place. And he's a stickler on details, so architects and everything else are important to him. My best buddy here is a real asset to this state. His wife Pam, his daughter Sammy, his daughter Jennifer, son-in-law Andy. They're all part of this unbelievable team that works tirelessly to make a day like this for all of us. I always say it's the best day of my life. I hope you, as we reflect back on 20 years of Bay Harbor, can say it's the best day of your life here today for what this guy has done for us. Join me in giving him a great round of applause. Look at this.
He's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny, which nobody can deny. He's my friend, if nobody can deny, I love him, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. This is from Bill. Which nobody can deny.
All right. So where do we go from here? So when I stood up 20 years ago today and said, with long hair, my wife calls the history DVD the history of my haircuts, with the history of the mullet. Okay, so when I stood up here 20 years ago and said, right up on that hill, and said, someday there'll be a harbor over here, and someday there'll be a village over here, and this will be the nautical center of the Great Lakes and impact boating forever, which it has. The answer now that these things, these major social elements are in place, is what's it missing? And what it's missing is something that will unite it, not only in Bay Harbor from a community, cultural, and educational and social standpoint, but for all of northern Michigan to unite Harbor Springs, Charlevoix, Petoskey, and the greater Northern Michigan community. So that's a difficult task. It again takes the 3 W's, workers, wealth, and wisdom, and it takes a relentless and tenacious effort. So for 10 years, we've kind of been kicking around and talking about it. About 9 months ago, family made the first step on the one of the W's to making it a reality. We then, for the last 9 months, every Wednesday, with a team of Fisher Dosh, who did Stanford, Lincoln Center, and I'm forgetting all of the great things. Jill could help me. But on programming performing arts centers. And then Chrisman and Hobson Black Architects, and every Wednesday we've had a several-hour conference call with a deadline of today. A deadline of today to get to where we had raised at least 50% of the money, which we have done. A deadline today to create the facility and the concept that will take not only Bay Harbor but Northern Michigan to a next level. And it reminds me of what we built in Yacht Club Costa Smeralda, which was the first and most unique super yacht marina in the world. And a guy by the name of Ed Dubois is one of the great super yacht sailing architects. Came and in an interview at the grand opening, he said, look, what this is a platform. It's a stage for the super yachts of the world to perform on and to have events at and to put on. So we are not, in the beginning of Bay Harbor, I went around to the Chamber of Commerce's and the Lions Club and went to every breakfast telling every community within 100 miles what was coming within 2 years every month. And we'll do the same thing with this, but we are complementary to Interlaken, complementary to Crooked Tree, and we are a facility, a stage, a physical structure that will allow all of the arts, the culture, the TED conferences, the speeches, the first run movies, everything to be shown there and enrich our lives and reach out to greater Northern Michigan. So it is with great pleasure that I'm going to show you the renderings of the center at Bay Harbor. It is only the beginning because this is its official introduction and announcement. I'm going to have some people that have worked relentlessly on it to join me on the stage for the ribbon cutting on the dance floor, I would say, because it gets a little crowded up here. And I encourage each of you to play a role in what it's going to be. So we're going to use the next year to study and perfect both professional management, which will be hired to run this place. It won't be run by us. It'll have professional management, professional leadership, and as we go forward, it will be a game changer for the future of Northern Michigan, tourism, and the great state of Michigan. And so there are renderings of this, which, you know, I think of a fight when somebody walks around in between rounds with the cards. Maybe we can get some of the boards walked across the front of the stage while we're gathering with the ribbon. So as we go forward, in 1 year we'll break ground. It will open in May of 2017. So as sure as I was when I stood up here 20 years ago and said, there will be a harbor over here, if you look at what we came from to what we are today, you can be assured that this will be built. This is a reality. And this is the beginning of something that's very, very exciting, a game changer for the retail and for all of Northern Michigan. It is a 12-month facility. Candy Fitzsimons shared in the dream of this along the way and has given great input. It went from input from the Yacht Club, input from the Bay Harbor Foundation, and it's now the Center at Bay Harbor, its own 501c3 foundation with the new board. So if you're interested in participating, we'll have lots of opportunity, lots of committees, and lots of leadership. But the people that are going to join me are the ones that helped get it to where it is today. So congratulations, it's for you. Okay, we count down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the goal now is to see how much fun you can have. So I'm proud to introduce the Simone Vital Band and a few special things along the way. And lots of dancing, continued to be good food. Trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom. What a wonderful world. Seaside so bright, clouds so wide, the bright blessed day, the dark serene night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Bay Harbor! So pretty in the sky, from all the people's faces, I see friends going by, I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. The babies cry, I watch them grow. They're really slow, more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I said to myself, Bay Harbor, let's have a great party. What a wonderful world.